The NDC holds the view that those constituencies have been validly declared in favor of their candidates and should remain as such. The NPP, on the other hand, says the EC must complete the process. Let's speak to Lord Edwasara, correspondent who was in court and has joined us for the latest regarding this. Lord, thank you so much for joining us. Happy New Year to you. To start with, tell us a bit more about the ruling on the preliminary objection.
Happy New Year to you too, Martin, and our audience. Now, basically, you recall that yesterday we had the preliminary objections raised by the NDC led by Ediji Tamaklo, and then the NPP Big Council, Darren Makun, highlighted the fact that their case was not a petition, an election petition disguised as a mandamus application, as was described by the NDC. Now, in his ruling, Justice Bar Fortin Ejapon agreed with the NPP, indicating that because as it were, the result from the four constituencies, that is Ablekuma North, Tema Central, Teshiman South, and Okankwe Central, have not yet been gazetted by the Electoral Commission to Parliament. It so means that that has not officially been declared yet. And also added that the NPP's suit, which is the judicial review, to invoke the Electoral Commission to, as it were, perform their constitutional duty, it was right, or in the right sense for them to do so, because they are not challenging the decision or the result that the NDC has already been done. So he actually indicated that for the four constituencies, the MPP's suit is seeking for them to complete the collation and then declare the result. And so it cannot be the case that they can describe it as an election petition disguised as another suit. And so that's the reasoning behind him dismissing or overruling the NDC's objection to this, the NPP's suit.
Right. So Lord, maybe for purposes of those who may not know which constituencies we are talking about, just mention them for us. And are they different from the four that the Supreme Court said that were null and void, although they had been recollated and redeclared? Is it the same constituencies?
Right. So let's do a bit of a background here. Now, initially, the High Court, General Justice 13, presided over by Justice Osa Jiman, ruled in favor of the NPP granting their mandamus application. Now, their mandamus essentially was that they were asking the courts to, as it were, compel the Electoral Commission to collate and declare the results of Ablekuma North, Tema Central, Teshiman South, and then Okankwe Central. Now, he heard and granted their application without hearing the side of the NDC, because the NDC had not been made party to that suit. So they sent the case to the Supreme Court, and then the Apex Court said that it was not right for the High Court to not hear the side of the NDC and then rule in favor of the NPP. So it quashed the High Court's ruling and then asked for that hearing, the mandamus application, to be heard all over again. And so it was given to a different court presided over by Justice Bar Fortin Ejapon, and that's why we were in court yesterday. Now, the NDC led by Ediji Tamaklo moved their preliminary objection to that application filed by the NPP to compel the Electoral Commission to, as it were, collate and then declare the results of the consensus, the four consensus that I mentioned earlier on. Now, in his ruling today, like we explained earlier, the High Court indicated that yes, it was right. The approach used by the NPP was right because their suit was not challenging the result of those four aforementioned constituencies. What they were doing was that they were invoking the jurisdiction of the court to force or to compel, I should say, the Electoral Commission to complete the collation and declaration of those four constituencies. Now, they mentioned that the declaration of these results were done under duress. Okay, the returning officers of the Electoral Commission were forced to, as it were, declare the results, and in some cases, some of them, because the polling centers, they hadn't finished collating the results of all the other polling centers, they forced the returning officer to declare the results, and that's why they came to court. And so the High Court noted that, yes, this is right because indeed all the results have been collated, and this is not to challenge the results. We can't say there's a challenge of of results when the EC has not fully or gazetted the total results and sent it to Parliamentary. And so this is the background behind which the High Court made a decision. So once this application was overruled, the substantive case, which was the suit by the NPP, was now being heard. So even before I left the courtroom, the Darren Macron made the argument that, for example, the case that they were on was Tema Central. They started with Tema Central before they'll go to the other constituencies. So for Tema Central, I indicated that the returning officer was forced to declare the results, and that there was an outstanding polling center which the results weren't collated. And so he actually moved for a number of videos, I should say, to be played in court. So after the time that I was leaving, these videos were being played in court, showing how the declaration of the results in Tema Central, which made Ibi Bright the winner, was done. Martin.
All right, thank you. That would have actually been my last question about the substantive case and how it was going, but you just indicated that the hearing of those substantive cases has begun and that they're starting from Tema Central.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll definitely be coming back to you, or definitely in subsequent bulletins we'll update our viewers on how it's going. You may have to go back to court to follow the proceedings. Thank you very much. Lord Idwasari is our man in court for us, following the case of the order of mandamus that was sent to court by the NPP. So if you're just joining us, the application the NDC sent to court has been dismissed summarily, and the hearing of the substantive case has just begun. We'll update you subsequently. You can also follow our socials and you get to know what exactly it is. But in case you are unaware of what exactly it is, let me walk you through some of the key constituencies that have come up for conversation and what the key concerns have been. And he mentioned 4. They are, we'll take you through the 4, but let's start with the one we have here now, which is the Okaikwe Central Constituency. The NDC candidate was declared winner after the counting was done originally. The EC actually set aside that declaration. The court ordered the Electoral Commission to complete the process of recollation and redeclaration. Now, the EC recollated and declared the NPP candidate as a winner. So that's actually the bone of contention. First, NDC won. Now the EC says NPP has won. Then the issue had to go to the Supreme Court for proper clarity. The Supreme Court also then set aside a High Court order that told the EC to go to court, I beg your pardon, that told the EC to go and undertake the recollation and redeclaration. So the Supreme Court set it aside. And it was the Supreme Court that asked that a new High Court judge and a new court be set up to follow or engage the key stakeholders in hearing the case. So that's what is ongoing. Started on the 31st, that was yesterday, and it is ongoing today. So we'll definitely be updating you on how it plays out. And the next constituency, I beg your pardon, is he also mentioned Tema Central, and there are similarities in the issues that have played out in all 4. So in the Tema Central, for instance, okay, so let me talk you through Ablekuma North. So for Ablekuma North, again, the NDC candidate was declared the winner. The Electoral Commission said that their officers were forced to declare the NDC as winners, and so there were issues of they complaining of duress and threats. That is how come they declared the NDC winner. Well, the issue went to court, a High Court, which ordered the Electoral Commission to now go and actually recollate and redeclare, go through the entire process again. The EC could not complete the process due to destroyed pink sheets. So that is the difference, specific difference for Ablekuma North. Pink sheets were destroyed, and that forced the EC to say they could not complete the process. And again, when the Supreme Court was given its position on Ablekuma North, it also set it aside and asked that the Electoral Commission, the NDC, and the NPP go to a different High Court under the leadership of a new judge, so they go through the entire process again. Techiman South was also mentioned, is one of the 4. For Techiman South, the coalition was scuttled by constituency, by party supporters at the constituency level. The EC at the moment, declared the the NPP candidate as winner, and the Supreme Court again, based on the fact that the Supreme Court thought not all the due process was followed, also set aside the Techiman self-declaration. Again, it is one of the 4 that is being heard currently at the High Court, where we just had that conversation with my colleague from. And so those are the 4 constituencies, and I also mentioned Tema Central. So clearly, you'd want to stay with your election command center before the 6th of January. We'll definitely get to know where all of this is turning to and how it is playing out. We'll be updating you subsequently. Well, let's go on to some other stories now having to do with President-elect John Dramani Mahama. Now, he's been very busy awaiting the final transition and then the inauguration and swearing in. So what we do know is that the President-elect John Dramani Mahama has made a clarion call on all political parties in the just-ended 2024 elections to embrace unity and contribute to Ghana's transformation. Addressing congregants at the 31st night service held at the Sanctuary of Wind and Fire Assemblies of God in Tamale on the 31st of December, that was just yesterday, John Mahama emphasized the importance of national unity and collective action in tackling the country's challenges. We'll in a bit be speaking to Komla Kluche, our presidential correspondent, to get exactly what else the president-elect has been doing or saying. But before that, let's listen to the exact words of President-elect John Mahama.
We're here to say thank you that what we wished in our heart, he has fulfilled it for us. And indeed, he has fulfilled it beyond our wildest expectations. When I prayed and I called on him, I knew we would be victorious. And so that day I went to vote. After I cast my vote, all the media were with microphones and their TVs on me. And one of the media men asked me, he says, so now that you voted, what do you think? Are you going to win the election? I said, yes, I believe we're going to win the election. Then, the next question he asked me, he said, what of the parliamentary? Are you going to have the majority? I said, well, I project that at least we will get more than 150 seats. God said, you are speaking nonsense. I'll give you more than 150 seats. And now I have so many MPs, I don't know what to do with all of them. And you know the funny thing? When I was campaigning, every constituency I go to, the paramount chief says, we're going to vote for you. But when we vote for you, you must make our son a minister. Hey. Meanwhile, at the time I say, I want to appoint more than 60 ministers. Every paramount chief wants his son to be a minister. And we won in how many constituencies? Let's say 180 something. And so let's say 60 out of 180, you can imagine what the balance left will be.
Yeah, that's President-elect clearly letting us understand the kind of conundrum that he finds himself in at the moment. Let's speak to Komla Kluche now. Komla, Happy New Year to you. Thank you for joining us. The President-elect has just talked about, the pressures from all sides of the country on him to elect someone to represent them, as ministers, etc. But talk to us about what he's saying regarding unity and having a united country going into the new year.
Happy New Year to you, Martin, and Happy New Year to the rest of the team as well. Well, first off, he's just been releasing a statement a short while ago, and he's been indicating, fellow citizens, my brothers and sisters, welcome to 2025, and that we thank God for guiding our paths through our past year and trust him to do some new things in our lives, that this year marks the beginning of another chapter which will be renewed with a renewed promise of hope, progress, and shared prosperity. Again, he makes the point that his administration is committed to implementing the 24-hour economy policy, expanding job opportunities, and transforming Ghana into an export-driven economy together will create an environment that fosters entrepreneurship, innovation, and sustainable development, ensuring that the youth can achieve their dreams right here at home. That's a statement released a short while ago by the President-elect John Dramani Mahama. Now, on the issue of the pressures and also how he's calling for unity, yes, of course, he has been overwhelmed with the congratulatory messages following that overwhelming win he had at the polls in December. But there's a groundswell of calls on him. If you know his office and you come to his office each and every other day, the number of people, not just from his political party, but as well as people from across the divide, have equally been paying courtesy calls on him, asking him to do one or two things here and there. Some equally have been doing the lobbying as well. But he wants to put the wind behind him, and he's asking for unity, whether you belong to the APC, the UFP, the MPP, the NDC, whichever way it is. Because of the amount of win he garnered, he is asking for a total commitment to unity to be able to steer the affairs of the country. And he is willing to work with each and every individual that he finds necessary, and also asking for the spirit of discernment in deciding who would make the list of the 60 ministers. Mind you, it's not going beyond that, he's assured. The 60 ministers who will make that list. Let's listen to John Mahama speak this morning whilst he was doing a crossover at the Assemblies of God Church in Tamale.
All of us, NPP, NDC, New Force, what was the name of the yellow people? Movement for Change. Movement for Change, CPP, PNC, ACP, all of them. It will take everybody to come on board, even those who don't belong to any party, especially. It will take all of us to get involved to be able to change this country into what we want it to be. And so what I say is that the easy part is over. The easy part was the campaign and the elections. Now the difficult part begins. Now the real work begins. And so if we prayed and fasted to have a successful election, then now is the time to pray and fast even more, that God would raise our nation, and like my little daughter said, make it the Black Star of Africa once again.
Certainly, and I'm sure that's what many of you, many Ghanaians and those who are, wishing well for the country are all hoping that Ghana becomes that Black Star of Africa and the world to shine bright again. Komla, what else should we be expecting from the president-elect? We know that in about 4, 5, 6 days, he's going to be sworn in to take up the full mantle as President of the Republic. What has he been engaging in after last night? Or what do you see his itinerary looking like ahead of Inauguration Day?
Very, very, very tight as we speak. He's en route to Accra. But even prior to yesterday, he had a series of meetings, especially with, commanders of the financial industry. Yesterday, before he emplaned to Tamale, he had a meeting with Dr. Akiwumi Adesina, who is the president of the African Development Bank. This is a meeting he has had, which was under the auspices of his brother, Ibrahim Mahama. What we are told, not much details of it, but what we are told from our sources is to the effect that, yes, because of how the economy has crashed and how he intends to work on it, meetings with these individuals, the players in the finance and the economy sector within the sub-region and also in right on the African continent is very, very, very key. These meetings and negotiations with them would go a very long extent in revamping what the economy should be. And so he's expecting everybody to rally behind him. We put behind the campaign and the numbers, and then Ghana can come back on its feet again.
All right, Komla, thank you for those updates, and definitely is our correspondent who's been following President-elect. We'll be joining him as and when we have something tangible that you need to know about. You're still on News Central on TV3. Let's stay with issues of the presidency. This time around, the sitting president. And with barely a week to the end of his 8-year tenure, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic of Ghana, is making a strong case for his tenure, describing it as one marked by laying a solid foundation. Many analysts have described the overwhelming victory of the opposition NDC as a rejection of the current NPP government's performance in government. President Akufo-Addo has been assessing his tenure in his final New Year message to the country.
This New Year's message is deeply personal to me, as it is my last as your president. Serving you has been the greatest honor of my life. I stand before you not just as a leader, but as a fellow Ghanaian, humbled by the trust you have placed in me and inspired by the resilience and fortitude I have seen in each of you. Together, we've walked a journey of transformation, and it is a journey I will always cherish. In the years I've been privileged to lead, we've worked tirelessly to lay a foundation for a Ghana that is strong, united, and full of opportunity. The free senior high school policy has given hope to millions of young Ghanaians and their families. We have seen our healthcare system strengthened, our roads expanded, our industry strengthened, our agriculture revitalized, and our digital landscape transformed. Additionally, our economy is rebounding impressively, as demonstrated by the remarkable 7.2% growth achieved in the third quarter of 2024, with the year's growth rate projected at 6.8%. These achievements are not just numbers or statistics. They are stories of lives changed and futures made brighter. But I also acknowledge the challenges we have faced. The road has not always been smooth, and there have been times of difficulty and sacrifice. Yet through it all, the indomitable Ghanaian spirit has prevailed.
As President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, just a reminder that he will be addressing the nation in 2 days, which will be his last State of the Ghanaian economy, State of the Nation to Parliament, and definitely will be bringing that to you here on TV3. Away from all of that, residents in the northern part of the country remain prone to experiencing the seasonal cerebrospinal meningitis outbreak as the dry weather conditions set in from January. Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Franklin Esiedu-Bequin, says that the service is on high alert for any possible outbreak of the disease in the country. He spoke exclusively to TV3.
Most part of the northern part is the meningitis belt. So when you have very dry weather and then you have high temperatures, you are prone to get meningitis. So we are monitoring, we have what they call the weekly charts that we are monitoring. So far, we have not crossed any epidemic threshold in any of these regions, and we are still monitoring. What I think is good for Ghanaians for now is that let's make sure that we are drinking a lot of water, and make sure that you are applying a lot of cream, moist cream, if it's good to share better, and drink a lot of water. Yes, and then if your eyes are dry, you can wear some sunglasses. But I think that we will start getting cough and things like because of the dryness of the weather. That's what I'm saying, that when you drink more water, you're not likely to get the cracks. Yes, and so more water, and then we're applying a lot of moisturizers on your skin will prevent dryness of the skin. But then meningitis normally will come, let's say, January, February, March. But we are still monitoring it, and we don't have that surge in cases as of now.
Well, we'll be taking a quick break on News Central and bring you more stories after the break. And talking about more stories, when we return, many of you crossed over, some crept under, others jumped over. Well, we are all in the new year now. We'll return, we'll find out how many Ghanaians across the country entered the new year and where they did that from. Stay with us, we'll be back with more.
One bucket of flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, one bucket of flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Somali, are you ready for the biggest New Year pool party? Yes, on the 1st of January 2025, the second edition of KD's All-White New Year Party is happening live with the legendary Abrantia Abachi Dede. Last year, the fun and enjoyment was on a different level, but trust me, this year it's gonna be fantabulously better. Come, let's start the year with a positive vibe with families and friends at King David, the finest entertainment complex inside Tamale. Come and indulge in luxury, wine and dine at our exquisite restaurant where every bite tells a story. KD's Pizza and KD's Special Choco Grill Guinea Fowl with hot or malpep. When the sunset, the party begins at KD's nightclub or pub with live band settings every weekend. Top-notch security system, both physical and electronic. You are safe to party with us on the 1st of January 2025 at the KD's All-White New Year Party.
Tamale. You never bound for. The Baba Jim morning, 1st January. Love you, Tamale.
This is the reason why I love Ghana.
Then the lottery acquired 20 years. You said Ghana and Nadim Kunim.
We are one. Ghana as one.
We are proud about Ghana. Sabaya 2 years now. Akos Asundem, Ayenshia or how we are.
Africa and the rest of the world salute Ghana.
Don't forget, the lottery acquired sends love. Love to all Ghanaians. The lottery acquired
When the sun rises, there is hope. While this hope lingers on, the citizens look up to the government, the economy, the national development agenda, and everything in between.
On Ghana Tonight, it's our utmost priority to bring you insightful conversations on the economy, break down the biggest issues while setting the agenda for transformation and national development. The big and important stories are treated from the human interest angle, while the facts and the figures are painted with precision. So now, let's cut the convention and start the conversation here on Ghana Tonight. I am your host, Alfred Okamsi.
Ghana Tonight shows Monday to Friday at 10 p.m. on TV3. Brought to you by
Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
The news that matters most is the news that hits closest to home.
When it breaks, we are there.
If it touches your family, your city, affects your expenditure, your decisions, as well as your safety, we've got it covered.
It's easy to just cover the news. What we are doing is different, creating a news experience that prepares you for anything. TV3 News, award-winning journalism, world-class quality, on TV and online, right at your doorstep. TV3. First in news.
Welcome back to News Central on TV3, the 1st of January 2025. Now let's get a sense of how the country crossed over into the new year. Many people were on the streets, some were in church, others were in the pubs, while some regarded the crossover as a religious occasion and thronged to religious centers, others considered it as a period to get even more merrier and gathered at social centers. However, a common sense of future aspirations, which is prosperity, I should say, is shared among all those with diverse principles. We'll be beginning from the central region, where Akwesiado monitored occasions in the region and has joined us for a quick update. And Rabbi Kwesi, Happy New Year to you. I can tell that you haven't even rested well. You were in Ghana tonight. I was watching you, and now here you are again talking to us on NewsCentral. A very Happy New Year to you. How was Central Region generally, and where you are last night? How did they cross over into the New Year?
Okay, Happy New Year. As a matter of fact, I haven't rested well, just as you mentioned, but this is a normal routine. We owe the people of Ghana what we do every day, and so we keep soaring. And so, yes, it was an atmosphere of praise and worship at the various religious centers here in the Central Region. People gathered both in mass and then as well as smaller congregations to offer praise to the Lord, pushing them through the previous year, which is 2024, even as they look forward to prosperity in this new year 2025. There were some prophecies at some of the religious gatherings, and then key among the prophecies is the fact that Ghana would prosper in this 2025. And also, there were some sort of acknowledgement to especially the incoming government, where they've been asked to take measures that would inure to the benefit of all Ghanaians and eschew corruption and other bad practices that may thwart the forward growing of this country. And so we engaged some religious leaders, and this is what they had to say.
Nice or Ghana 4 years away, a bad nice, a bad cancer, a ban. And in your mechanic say, I won't find him slow in your sumpa and from Buomano. Now, Oman Bay, Salomon Saradian, when you might day, about so.
To say that if all of them can come together, including even the party that lost the election, if all of us can come together and fight the canker of corruption, I think we can do so much, because whenever we go to IMF to seek for, financial support, either grant or loan, whatever they give us, we are told that most of the monies that are stolen from the coffers of the nation is much more higher than even those that we go for from IMF and those other foreign donors. So if we can, protect our resources and protect the consolidated fund, I believe that we can have enough resources within to develop the nation.
And so those are some of the thoughts of persons in and around the Central Region. And wrapping up, Kwesi, so I'm sure some people actually walked into the New Year. Others were in the pubs, drinking into the New Year. What were their thoughts? How was it like in that part of the country?
Okay, exactly. So the people who decided to, spend the night at the various clubs and then pubs, for them, they say they believe in God, all right, but they do believe that God does not reside only in the churches. And even while at the club and the various social centers, they still believe God was with them. We are only looking forward to a prosperous year. For some of them, they believe that throughout the year, once the year is through, one thing up, you also need to, make very out of it. And so we engage with some of them, and then this is what they had to share with us.
What I did for my heart before coming here is I pray to God. You see, I give everything to God, because it's only God that take care of me over so many years. And this year, this 2024, going to 2025, whatever I will do for 2025 belongs to God. And what I paid for it, God should give me money, because I'm suffering for money.
Even though I'm not at church, before 12 a.m., we will break with the music, and then we do a little ushering in prayer into the new year. We have our little sermon in here, yes, to usher in the new year.
Right, so those are the individuals who decided to enter the new year not in church but elsewhere. Akwesi, thank you so much for all that reporting, and do get yourself some very well-deserved rest because the work continues unabated. Akwesi Ado reporting from the Central region. Let's now cross over to the northern part of the country where Christopher Marco, our correspondent, has been gauging the mood and activities there for us as well. Chris, thank you for your time. I was about to say Merry Christmas, sorry. Happy New Year to you, Chris. What's the mood like on the first day of January 2025 in the northern and savannah regions?
Yes, so Martin, is that of excitement because people are happy that God has seen them through the year and granting them another year, that is this year, 2025. And so yesterday, a lot of people were in church to give glory and thanks to God for taking them through 365 days. And this morning, people are going about their normal duties. They have just closed from church, and people are happy that God has been good to them. I have been engaging some residents and pastors. Let's take a listen to what they've been saying.
This is about love, and this is God's love, and we feel so strong that we need to be here after we have prayed and seek the face of God. God directed us here to show love to the people of Gunjaland. Our message is that irrespective of whatever is happening globally, Russia-Ukraine war, COVID, some people lost their loved ones, but God loves you. Irrespective of the hardship, you are still alive. That alone is very important, and you have a reason to thank the Lord.
Right, Chris, so clearly, I mean, there are those who are really excited, and almost everybody's excited to have gone through, like you said, 365 days. Now let's talk tourism specifically this time around in the year. How are things looking like? We understand that the Mole National Park is getting some good visit. Is that the case?
Yes, Martin, hundreds of people, both locals and foreign nationals, are trooping to the Mole National Park to have a feel of the natural environment there. And according to management of the park, this is an indication that people are beginning to understand, especially on domestic tourism, understand the need for them to go relax somewhere, have fun, and also have a feel of nature. As it stands now, first day of the year 2025, and the park is already recording high numbers of visits by locals and foreigners. Let's take a listen to what the tourism guard at the Mole National Park has to say on today's visit.
The turnout so far has been encouraging as compared to last year, but we hope that from tomorrow on going to second, third going, a lot of people will now understand and appreciate that before they resume work, they need to stress out, they need to distress themselves actually of the everything that had eaten their time, taking their time within last year. So it will be good they come around this year, experience nature while away from the noises and everything that stresses them out there, and come to feel the nature, have the experience in Mole National Park, just to start up the new year. So on this note, we invite everybody to still patronize the park. They should visit the park. Distance is not a barrier. Distance is not a barrier. The memories are the valuable things that we need to cherish at heart. The memories are nothing, they are even priceless. So let's make use of them and let's patronize nature. Let's visit Mole National Park.
Right. So, Chris, thank you so much for engaging some tourists and the tour guides at the Mole National Park, then bringing us that report. So if you're in and around that enclave, you might want to also visit to enjoy the nature reserve there that we have for you as part of building and increasing our tourism here in Ghana. And talking about tourism, one of the key regions that has most tourist sites is the Western region. Let's take a quick trip there because many Ghanaians also crossed over into the new year at various places. And we'll be speaking shortly to Irama Smith, who's been engaging a number of Westerners. I say, Takrade, Wasabade. Let's find out how they also entered 2025.
The deeply religious nature of many Ghanaians comes to the fore, especially on New Year's Eve. Traditionally, many Christians, including those who may not usually go to church, ensure they enter the new year in church. Antoinette and Millicent were among the many fulfilling this tradition in Takoradi.
Expectations in the baby kwa baby na na expectation amewo ti yehwe na akasa intim so in Sunday ready make away into chinchina afam ti baby na yehwe so the obobo ye wo ba no ne na etwa ni pen na no wonya ne dam ebinum ya no won start ye ni mo na enwie intim pa bo mesla ne de nyankopon ankasa the way boy en ho ba na ode ni free ode na ekora afefufum no obe ani nyina ma obi biara.
But these young men preferred to welcome the new year in their own way.
Andy, adukule ade bazi play so yan connection on kwatintin iska na pomedin ona na yem so yan connection
I am the prayer and able. Prayer yada solar and prayer and able. You can them poor pay. The solar and pay. It's a human prayer. Inshallah so far.
And then there were also those who opted for revelry in the dying embers of 2024. As we navigated through the crowds, we chanced upon Mameya and her sister Faustina making good business in the sale of fruit and pork. To them, the essence of Christianity has changed. That's their preference to do business on New Year's Eve instead of the traditional church going.
Me side there who nya say me kwakotena aso dem ho no ma ko waste me time say me say me kwa me ko den ya me asa na me gina na me den ya me ase. Oh,
God is everywhere. It is good to be I mean, at a church and worship with others, but I mean, I chose to be here and then experience. This is my first time I'm spending my 31st outside, so I just want to feel the difference.
At 11:55 p.m., we arrived at PIWC Takoradi, where devoted followers were immersed in fervent prayers, seeking divine guidance as they prepared to usher in the new year. As the clock struck midnight, the air was filled with the joyful sound of firecrackers, welcoming the arrival of a fresh year. In response to the ladies' skepticism about Christianity now, resident pastor Reverend Salasi Amedeka Bongwit had this to say.
I want to tell the young people out there that Christianity is more conviction than function. They should know that it's a lifetime commitment. Once you have decided to give your life to Christ, you should do that fully, without looking back. And so when you come on 31st night, and the other days you don't come, where have you put your Christ? You must know that once you have made a commitment, and you have pledged that you want to be a Christian for the rest of your life, you must always be in the house of God. Have time to do your work and have time to come into the house of God. So I want to encourage all the youth that don't be a 31st December watching a church attendant, but be a full Christian all the days of the year.
Erama Smith, TV3 News, Takoradi.
Right, so that's what happened in the Western region. To some other stories now, Ghana's development agenda could hit a snag if President Akufo-Addo assents to the Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill into law. Stanley Nibleu reports that some pastors told their publics or congregants that even though they disapprove of the LGBTQ activities, they fear that funds, including grants that Ghana receives from the West, could be truncated.
Christians around the globe participated in the 31st December Watch Night service to thank God for the gift of life while ushering in a new year. Local congregants also participated in the service. At the Christ Apostolic Church in Osu, the all-white congregants appeared before the throne with praise and dance for navigating a turbulent year. Chairman of the Christ Apostolic Church International, Apostle Samuel Amponsah Frimpong, called for the protection of the peace of Ghana while collectively supporting the incoming administration to deliver prosperity to the people.
I am hopeful that the new leadership will find support from all Ghanaians, including the opposition, and God will be our overall benefactor. Let us be each other's keeper. Let us ensure that what God has for us in the year 2025 will truly become our heritage.
The ICGC Faith and Miracle Temple in Teshikam too also glorified the mightiness of God while praying in support of critical measures for economic rebound and good environmental sustainability. Head pastor of the church, Reverend Dr. Samuel Nyako, commented on the passage of the Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill, which is yet to be signed into law. He insists that Ghana's development could hit a snag if the law is assented to by the president.
I'm a Christian. I am against gayism or lesbianism, but we must be realistic. A lot of money comes from the West, from these gay people and lesbian to our country. Can we run our economy without their money? This is the dilemma our leaders are in. Our budget is largely financed by the West. If we can run our economy without a white man's contribution, the president can easily ascend. The dilemma facing our leaders is, if we sign this bill, all the money that come from this country will not come to our country again. And we must be ready to face the reality.
The watch night service at the Prophetic Hill Chapel was characterized by prophecies. The General Overseer of the Church, Prophet Nigel Gaze, reiterated that the MPP's constant attack on churches resulted in their defeat and cautioned the NDC to take a cue from that. He also revealed an imminent state burial of a female rising political figure from the central region, urging the people in the region to intercede.
The Lord said, I should tell the people of central region. Don't forget that I think that one of the former vice presidents of Ghana, Emisata, is from central region. They should pray and they should listen. If they take this for granted, I'm seeing a state barrier. So a daughter, a son, but this one I'm seeing is a female, has risen to a highest level. Let's pray so as I said, well, what happened will not happen again. Let's pray for Oprah Winfrey.
Head pastor of the Glorious Temple Worship Center, Reverend David Dazi, after being ushered into the new year, said Ghana is prophetically bound to liberate herself economically in 2025, despite the previous year's hardship.
And 2025, the latter when they had the Spirit Jesus, fine. So 2025, grace, and grace and to be also.
At the Nungwa Nshona branch of the Church of Pentecost, an altar call was announced to receive new converts. This was after they had found joy in the house of the Lord through melodious praise. Pastor Isaac Osai said if Ghanaians do things right, they will enjoy quality fruits in the right time.
2024 wasn't favorable, but because all things were together for maybe God used that hardship to teach us a lesson. So as we do things right, we believe that things will be well. So I believe that in 2025, God will take his children to the promised land.
Stephen Jabba is an elder of the church.
As citizens, we must be very honest to ourselves. We must respect ourselves. Let's see our environment. Let's keep the environment also clean. And let's love one another. Let's show love. Let's show concern. We have only one Ghana. We have only Ghana that we don't have anywhere. So let's all love our country and protect it. We have nowhere to go.
Now, still on crossover messages, some religious leaders have been speaking on various issues of national concern. There is more in the following report.
Reverend Father Wisdom Dodunu of the Sacred Heart Catholic Church urged the incoming government to focus on service and steer clear of corruption and other unethical practices.
I want them to render service. That is why we elected them into office. They should not come and lord it over the citizenry. They should also avoid all forms of corruption in any acts that will derail the progress of this country called Ghana.
At Mountain Missions International, after an electric atmosphere, Prophet Michael Ankuma, drawing from Proverbs 29, encouraged leaders to implement policies that reflect the people's interest.
Proverbs 29 is clear. It says that when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. And the people rejoice because the righteous have good intentions for the people. They will set up good policies that should focus on healthcare, should focus on education, should focus on economic growth.
For his part, Apostle Siao, head pastor of the Redeemed Faith Chapel International, urged the incoming government to prioritize spirituality. He reminded them of their responsibility to improve the economy, stressing the need to honor the trust Ghanaians have placed in them.
I would like to urge the government to put their trust. They should make sure that spirituality is much more concerned about them, and they should consult the wisdom of God. And I believe that their life, whatever God has purposed in their heart to do for the nation, shall surely come to pass, and it shall be wonderful, and it will be a shocking. The people trust the president, so we urge him to also hold our trust and not to disappoint the people of Ghana.
Reverend Benyu Life Zotu of Faith Chapel Assemblies of God advised the newly elected government to learn from the failures of the previous administration. He also called on the opposition to remain proactive in holding the government accountable.
What made the previous government to be removed should be a lesson to the incoming government. Ghanaians are not now moved by just promises or works. They are moved by action. Work hard, meet the need of Ghanaians. I also want to appeal to the opposition, the incoming opposition. It doesn't mean that they should sit it down without talking, because it's the opposition that guides the ruling government to work effectively.
Prophet John Edu of the Rock of Bethel Prayer Ministry echoed a similar sentiment. He highlighted the need to tackle the illegal mining crisis. On the National Cathedral project, he suggested repurposing the site for a developmental initiative.
Galamsey na ase nsuo, ase forest no. Yedi awrade di pa na chew. Omfa na nan besi fam. Na Ghana sese no enam nsuo a yenya nom ane nsuo a ase ntino oman no ama bibia ya basa. Cathedral no ho asem ade won toto ye no omo toto ni yie. Se nya maso de ya. Yase ba bia tu otwere no. Yase ade kwhwere ba bia twere. Na bia no yemfa nya ade foforo.
Touching on the need for proper counsel, Resident Minister of the Pentecost International Worship Center, PIWC Atomic, Apostle Anthony Mensah, urged the incoming administration to seek counsel from the nation's spiritual leaders.
We believe that it is God who has given us a new leader, and so he can only succeed when he waits upon God, when he prays, and when he seeks counsel from the fathers and the spiritual leaders of the land.
Now let's step away from all the religious-related stories now and go back to issues regarding legislative developments in the country. As you may be well aware, Parliament will hold its final sitting on Friday when the President delivers his State of the Nation address. But the year 2024 saw many key moments in the House. We'll take a look back at some of the key highlights from 2024.
2024 was a transformative year for the Parliament of Ghana, marked by dramatic shifts in the legislative landscape, groundbreaking laws, political clashes, and monumental decisions that set the stage for the future of the country. From historic bills to constitutional debates and unexpected judicial rulings, Parliament played a central role in shaping the nation's direction. The year kicked off with significant social policy debates, notably the passage of the Promotion of Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill, also known as the Anti-LGBTQ+ Bill, in February. The bill, which criminalized LGBTQ activities, sparked intense debate both within and outside Parliament. It highlighted the stark cultural and ideological divides within Ghana's political class. While the debate is ongoing, the passage of the bill was undeniably one of the key legislative moments of 2024. As the year progressed, Parliament became immersed in constitutional reform debates. In March, discussions centered on reducing the number of members of Parliament and curbing the size of the executive. The Constitutional Review Consultative Committee's proposal proposal suggested limiting MPs to 277 and placing a cap on government ministers at 25, eliminating the roles of deputy and regional ministers. These proposals sparked heated debate, reflecting a desire for a leaner, more efficient government in light of the country's economic challenges. In July, the Affirmative Action Bill was passed after 8 years of deliberation. This bill mandates a minimum of 30% representation of women in public offices and decision-making roles by 2030, marking a significant step towards gender equality in Ghana's governance. The passage of this bill was hailed as a victory for women's rights and a breakthrough in breaking down barriers to female leadership in the country.
The Affirmative Action Gender Equality Bill 2024 now Affirmative Action Gender Equity Act 2024 duly read the third time and passed.
In total, 10 significant bills were passed by the Parliament of Ghana in 2024. Amongst the bills passed by the Parliament of Ghana in 2024 include the National Roads Authority Bill, the National Service Authority Bill, the Ghana Civil Aviation Bill, Ghana Shippers Authority Bill, Affirmative Action Bill, Public Health Bill, Environmental Protection Bill, Education Reform Bill, Digital Rights and Data Protection Bill, Youth Employment and Skills Development Bill, amongst others. As the year moved on, Parliament also engaged in preparations for the 2024 general elections, and the Electoral Commission's constitutional instrument was amended. The revised CI made the Ghana card the sole identification document for voter registrations, sparking debate around voter inclusivity. It also introduced stricter controls on voter registration, including continuous registration processes, and placed tighter regulations on political party agents during elections. These changes aimed at improving the accuracy and credibility of the electoral roll, ensuring a more transparent electoral process. Meanwhile, Parliament also witnessed major political clashes. In October, Speaker of Parliament Alban Gbagwin declared 4 parliamentary seats vacant, triggering heated political tensions. The declaration came after the MPs from both the ruling NPP and the opposition the NDC announced their intentions to contest the upcoming elections as independent candidates.
These MPs cannot be allowed by law and my good self to continue to pretend to be representing people that they don't believe in and they don't have any loyalty for in this house any longer.
This move led to accusations and a political showdown between the two major parties.
Mr. Speaker, no way! Mr. Speaker, no way! Honorable member, you don't listen at all. Mr. Speaker, I do.
The situation took a dramatic turn when in November, the Supreme Court ruled that the Speaker's decision to vacate the 4 seats was unconstitutional. This ruling restored the seats and gave the NPP back its slim majority in Parliament, underscoring the fragile balance of power in the lead-up to the elections. Finally, the year culminated in the December 7 general elections. As results began to pour in, it became clear that former President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC had emerged victorious, gaining a majority in Parliament and pushing the NPP into opposition. This shift in power signals a new era for governance, with Mahama's promises of a leaner government structure and a focus on economic reform becoming central to the political discourse. 2024 was a year where Ghana's Parliament was at the heart of the nation's evolution. Its debates, decisions and divisions illustrated the complexities of governance in a rapidly changing world. The events of the year will undoubtedly influence the path Ghana will take in the years to come, with Parliament continuing to serve as a crucial institution in shaping the country's future.
Well, on that note, we bring the bulletin to an end, the first of many to come in the new year 2025. Thank you for watching. I am Martin Asiedu Date. Up next is the afternoon show, a brand new afternoon show, well polished. It's sparkling, nice, clean. And Anita and the rest of the team, Gordon, will be bringing you what you do not have your fingers crossed on. Have a very good afternoon. I am Martin Asiedu Date. Bye for now.